Today on Beyond the Burner, I'm joined by Maximilian Riedel, the 11th generation CEO of Riedel, the Austrian glassware company that transformed how the world drinks wine. Founded in 1756, Riedel is one of the oldest family-run businesses in the world and the first to create varietal-specific stemware, forever changing the relationship between glass and grape. Maximilian took over the company at just 25 and has spent the past 2 decades honoring his family's legacy while bringing the brand into the modern era with bold design, global expansion, and a commitment to education. Under his leadership, Riedel has opened flagship stores in Tokyo and New York and expanded its presence through seminars and tastings around the world. Today, we'll talk about heritage, innovation, the science of taste, and why your rosé really does taste better when it's properly decanted. Hello, Maximilian. How are you?
Thank you, Erica. I'm feeling good. Greetings from Austria.
Oh, wow. It looks beautiful there. So it's very interesting because I had known about Riedel for years. I had bought it for friends when they got married, and I had a friend who's a real wine connoisseur, and he actually introduced me to it. But it wasn't until I attended one of your seminars that I really understood how the glass changes the wine. Why do you think that moment is so surprising for people?
Well, this is the moment where most people go, wow, and they're super surprised that the shape of a wine glass can truly impact the way how we enjoy wine, the way we smell it, the way it feels on the palate, the way it tastes. And this is exactly the moment that we are always aiming for, because most people think it's great marketing, because people have never experienced it. But as soon as they experience it, they understand why we call our wine glasses tools or instruments for those who take wine very serious.
So is that why you started doing these seminars to really educate people about that?
Well, the seminars my grandfather already started because when he started developing modern wine glasses, which have truly created an entire industry now, his original designs have been copied by all my competitors. It's a fact. The way how he envisioned the perfect wine glass during the Bauhaus period, this has become, yeah, um, the compass for all glass producers. And when he designed his glasses in the 1950s, people were unbelievers. They could not believe, they could not understand. And he was the first to say, use your existing glass and try the same wine out of my design and understand the difference it can make. So those glass tastings, those comparable tastings really go back until the 1950s. But it was my father who took the idea around the world.
Incredible. But now you took over the company at just 25 years old. When you took over, what did you want to do different? Or did you want to do everything the same? Like, how did you change it or continue the heritage?
Well, my father, George, allowed me to enter the business and gave me an entire market, a continent. He offered me the opportunity to prove myself in a then developing wine market, the United States. So I moved in 2000 to New York. I took over an existing shell of a company. And because of the wine boom, the trend in the US, I was able to immediately be successful because there was a demand. But at the same time, I became immediately creative because I lived the big city life in New York. I started developing the stemless collection, the Riedel Oak collection, which became a huge success. And soon after, a few more designs followed. And I would really say, thanks to the American market, I became an entrepreneur and the Riedel brand was able to further grow.
I want to talk to you about that stemless glass because I bought them and I bought them because I didn't want to be putting everything in the dishwasher. It was just like so much easier actually with the dishwasher to use that stemless glass. But when you're drinking it, your warm hands are touching the glass. Is that okay? Or is
Well,
it
that's
mostly for
okay
red wine?
as long as you serve good wine and you drink it with a, I would say, a regular rhythm. Of course, if it's bad wine and it sits in the glass for too long, it starts to warm up, but it warms up anyhow, also in a stemmed glass. So this is a misbelief that a stemless glass has an impact on the temperature of the wine because not because of the glass or your fingertips that hold the glass, you will change the temperature. So for me, it was always the casual way of drinking wine. For those who people who were looking for an excuse not to use a stemmed glass, but also for those people who said, I need a glass for the morning orange juice, I need a glass for the afternoon, a cocktail, and a glass maybe for the evening for wine. And so the stemless glass is the perfect solution because it's so easy to handle and it's stackable, it's user friendly. So it became immediately a huge success. And 20 years later, we're still selling it with great passion and success.
And I still have the glasses that I bought 20 years ago.
Imagine how durable
So,
the glasses are.
so what exactly happens when the right wine meets the right glass?
It's a match in heaven.
How so?
Well, because it feels right, it tastes delicious, it gives the wine its stage that every wine, well-made wine, deserves. And when wine feels good on your palate and it tastes like more, it is a success story to be written. Of course, it always depends on the quality of the wine, but also the way how you present it. It's not only look and feel, but it's how it smells, how it tastes, and how it performs. And the best way is always, if you're a misbeliever, to have the same wine in multiple vessels. Good. Could be drinking it from a jar versus a modern looking wine glass versus directly from the bottle. This is, of course, the extreme that most people would not do, but just to prove the fact that yes, it's not only about what's written on the label and how much a bottle of wine costs. It's also the tool in between that communicates. So I like to call my glasses the messenger of wine or the communicator of fine wine.
So if a young couple is going and they're going to register, they're getting married, and they want to order their wine glasses, what is what wine glasses would you suggest that they register for, like
So
right off the bat?
first of all, the good news is Riedel does not produce only one collection, which would relate to one price point. We have various price points because we have at Riedel handmade glass in Austria and all our machine-made glasses from two different factories that we operate ourselves in Germany. So the quality is something which obviously is for us the main priority. And no matter what the budget is, you will always get the best quality. But the good news is that you have a budget and we have a solution. We have a product for various budgets that you might have. So it depends when the couple is newlywed and they're young, they might have a different budget than somebody that gets married, like I did in my early 40s, So obviously I had a different budget. Second, which glass is or which shape is the correct one for you? Well, ask yourself, what do you enjoy the most? Are you a red wine, a white wine drinker? And then go further. Do you mainly drink wines from Napa Valley, a Cabernet, or from Sonoma, a Pinot Noir, as an example? So choose the glass that suits your current needs. And then don't be selfish. Think about your spouse. What does he or she like to drink the most? And sometimes it's not the same grape, it's not the same fruit. And I suggest those are the two glasses you should start a collection with. There is no need to invest in 6, 8, or 12. It's just the two of you start with two glasses. And this is how I would start. And then, of course, you're easing in, which means you're becoming more familiar with fruit, more familiar with different grape varieties. Then you can start to expand. So there is no need to load up your brand new kitchen cabinets from the beginning. Ease in, enjoy, explore the fine world of wine, and then decide step by step what suits your palate.
What about a decanter? Because I remember at your seminar, you have these beautiful decanters with the swirl. It looks like a snake, right?
Yes.
Um, so I don't think a lot of people have decanters or they really know what to do with them. And I remember you talking specifically because it's summertime about rosé, and you were
Yeah.
recommending decanting rosé. Why should we do that?
So first of all, decanting. I think everybody who's serious about wine should have a decanter at home for two main reasons. Like me, if you have access to older vintage bottles, you need a decanter to split the wine from the sediment.
Okay.
But the more modern reason for a decanter is to aerate wine, to pump oxygen into the wine for the wine to faster develop, which means the tannins become softer, the fruit gets more exposed through aging the wine. Wine, I believe, is one of the very few foods that don't have an expiration date. And there's a good reason because, like us humans, wine with aging becomes better. So that's why you should invest in a decanter. At Riedel, we have about 60 different decanter designs and shapes. We have them at different price points. We have them machine made. We have them handmade by artisans. So it's also, again, depends on your budget and the way you use it. If you like to aerate young wines, rosé wines, white wines, I would invest in a decanter that fits into the ice bucket to keep it at temperature. Because decanting means from the bottle into another vessel, a beautiful shaped decanter. You asked me about rosé. Rosé are to be consumed the year after the wine is being made. It's tradition. Does rosé become better with aging? Can be, but not necessarily. Those wines are not made in such a way that they would become better with time. As soon as rosé wine, especially rosé from the Provence, comes to the market, the winery thinks it's at its best now. I still think that if you decant rosé, it's cool and the wine becomes even better. But there is no need to let it sit in the decanter for hours to come. Open the bottle, pull the cork, unscrew the cap, whatever the bottle comes with, shock decant it, which means upside down into the decanter, gains in aeration, and then immediately from the decanter into your friend's wine glasses.
That's so interesting. I don't think many people know that about rosé.
I think many people don't do it because, yes, as you said correctly, they have never explored it, they've never experienced it. Restaurants don't always offer the service of decanting, and I'm a firm believer that if you invest in a bottle of wine at a restaurant, get the most out of it by
Right.
demanding the proper stemware and getting your wines decanted.
And are there particular glass shapes or styles that you recommend for warm weather? So if you're sitting outside, you're having a rosé, a white wine, is there anything that we should be looking for?
Well, our glasses are grape specific, which means for Chardonnay you have a glass, for Pinot Noir, for Sauvignon Blanc, and also for rosé wine we have a glass. So if people are interested, go to riedel.com, Riedel, and there is the so-called glass finder or search button. Type in the fruit, the grape variety, the style of the wine, and we will tell you exactly which glass from various collections will match your choice of wine.
And you're on a US tasting tour this summer, correct?
Yes, I'm so much looking forward to it.
So can you talk a little bit about that? Because truly, I was on Instagram. That's how I found you. And I was on Instagram and I saw that you were doing a, a wine glass tasting. And I thought, well, that sounds interesting. I'll go. And it was fascinating. And I tell everybody
Mhm.
about it. Can you talk a little bit about why you're doing it and what people can expect and what cities you're going to?
Yeah, so we call it the Riedel wine glass experience. And as you correctly said, I speak a lot about it on my personal Instagram, which is Maxi Riedel, next to obviously the official page. And I'm preparing myself for a tour, which will start end of July in Denver. We will have two tastings in Denver, followed by Aspen. I will have one event in Aspen. Then I will continue to Los Angeles. We'll have two events there, followed by Napa Valley and San Francisco. So it's in the last week of July, first week of August, and the events are up to 250 people. Tickets are still available. We just started promoting them now. And what people will experience is shocking because I will open people's mind about wine, how many times they've misunderstood a wine, how often does it happen you don't like a wine, and if you don't like a wine, whom do you blame? You blame your friends to have opened the bottle, the salesperson in the shop, the sommelier who recommended it, the vintage, the quality of the wine. So there are many, many reasons why maybe you don't like a wine, but you never challenged your wine glass. And this is the first thing I will tell people is, wow, what a difference the glass can make, the messenger for wine. Then we will taste four different grape varieties. In this case, we will have Sauvignon Blanc, we'll have a Chardonnay, we'll have a Cabernet and a Pinot Noir, and we will have the matching glasses. But we will also obviously trick our senses by pouring red wine into a white wine glass, vice versa. And it will be fun, but at the same time, it might complicate people's setup because after this exercise, like you have explored with me, people will definitely consider investing in more stemware because it can make all the difference when it comes to wine tasting professionally or as a consumer, wine exploring. As I said, it's the sound system for wine.
Have you ever gone to a city and had like crazy reaction from the audience, like wow, and then they go buy so many of them? Is there different reactions that you get in different cities?
Well, I travel the world. I've been already this year to all five continents, and wherever I go, the reaction is like this because it's so mind blowing. People think one glass can do the job. It's not the case. No matter what your budget for a bottle of wine is, entry level or super expensive, the glass can make the difference between love and hate.
It's incredible. And can you talk about why that is, where it touches the tongue, the palate?
Well, obviously, it is something that my family, being the oldest glass manufacturer in the world, has explored to the maximum. And we're not standing still. We have a glass for Riesling as an example, but Riesling is changing. Winemaking methods have changed over the last 30 years multiple times. Global warming has an impact. So we always have to readjust our glasses. So we are not standing still. We're further developing. And how it works is trial and error. We are doing workshops around the world. We are only working with true wine influencers, which are the wine makers. We are exploring new grape varieties that are new to us. I just went to Spain. Grape varieties which I can't even pronounce. I just went to Greece. Also here we have grape varieties which are delicious, fantastic, which the rest of the world is not familiar with. So we're not standing still. We are continuing to further exploring, and it's about our senses. Wine speaks to all of our senses. Of course, there is something that has to do with the weight of the glasses, which is secondary. It's more about how the bowl is shaped and how the bowl is shaped in terms of wine flow, where it meets our senses, how long it remains on our palate. It's fascinating, but it's without having a glass in your hand and having a sip of wine on your palate, it's very difficult to explain.
Well, it's interesting because I went to a very special dinner a few months ago and I had it was a red wine, but it was bubbly and it was from Italy. And it was the most delicious wine I'd ever tasted and it was coldish. And so when we talk about different sparkling wines and champagne, what kind of glass should we look for?
Well, first of all, I was just in Italy, the northern part, in a city called Modena. And in Modena, they have this kind of sparkly, bubbly wine called Lambrusco, which goes perfect with local food such as Parmigiano cheese. and the local vinegar called balsamico. So if you're on my Instagram, you see this because I'm a foodie and I love to match certain fruit of wine with certain food. When we talk about sparkling wine, in the extreme, champagne, I was the crusader who said enough with the flutes. And I hope that some people don't criticize me because of that. But flutes are greatest marketing because what do you drink from a flute? Always sparkling wine. But the flute does nothing to enhance the quality of any sparkling wine, no matter where it comes from. The flute always promotes the yeast, which is in particular for sparkling wine needed for the second fermentation. When we talk about champagne and classic sparkling wine, I'm not talking about Prosecco. That's a very different process, of course, in the making. So this is something I always was surprised about. Why do people drink, and I'm a glassmaker, sparkling wine from flutes when you don't get the fruit of the grape? And so I explored and I teamed up with great champagne houses. Tétanger, Crook Champagne, Dom Perignon, and many, many more. And they all agreed that the flute is a thing of the past. They need to do better. And so I was the one who created the modern champagne wine glass, which looks more like a white wine glass than a typical champagne glass, a flute, or a coupe, which does nothing for the experience or for the quality of sparkling wines. So try it yourself, explore. Wine is all about exploring. Very important for people to understand. You can always do better with a better vintage, with new modern methods, and with proper stemware.
And I want to talk to you about Riedel's 270th anniversary coming up. How are you thinking about the future? How are you celebrating it? What can we expect from Riedel?
Yeah, think about it. I mean, all the listeners should consider 270-year-old company still run by the same family from one generation to the next. This is record breaking. When we think about that, it's older than the United States, the way we know it and celebrate it. And how is it possible? Well, very good question. In my case, I can tell you, I was fascinated by the doings of my father, the way how he went to business, the way how he explained the business to me, and it triggered something in me. I wanted to do that. And I have a great relationship to my dad. And since we have a good relationship on and off business, and he giving me the opportunity, developing my own market, we were able to achieve it. My forefathers must have done something very similar. And let's not forget, Europe went through so many wars, ups and downs, and we were still able to continue keeping fire in our ovens and melting glass. For sure, 270 years ago, we were in the button business, in the jewelry business, then in the chandelier business, then in the art deco decoration business, and now we're in the wine glass business, but always loyal to the skill art of glass. And this is something which we must celebrate because it's so special and so unique. And so when you invest in a Riedel product, you're investing in history. You're investing in something that is very special and definitely unique in our world. What are we going to do to celebrate 270th anniversary? Well, I'm writing a book. We're creating a movie. But the goal must be for people to continue to be fascinated in our brand, in the quality of our products. And my job, being the 11th generation, must be not to be the last. So the 12th generation is born. We have yet to motivate them. They're very young. My kids, it's too early for them to enter the business, but it's something to look forward to.
Do you take them with you to factories and see different
Yes.
things?
They will be traveling with me for the second time to the US. They will hopefully admire Daddy on stage hosting these events. And for sure, sooner or later, they have to explore the world of wine. But being so young, it's too early for them.
And finally, I want to ask you, what's your ideal summer wine moment? Where are you? What are you drinking? And what glass are you using?
Well, the ideal wine moment is being surrounded with friends who admire wine as much as I do, because then you speak a different language. You speak the language of wine. You're exploring, you are tasting, you're agreeing or disagreeing. It doesn't matter. Wine unites us. So this is the fascinating story about wine. Never too much, and of course, never drink and drive. So the ideal moment has to be close to the beach for me. Happy to be during the day, in the afternoon, or in the evening. It depends on the situation. And the wine has to have the right temperature in the proper glass. That's my dream come true. I already had a couple of these moments this year. I got to spend a couple of days in the south of France, in the Côte d'Azur, which was amazing. I'm looking forward to sipping some wine in Napa Valley because drinking wine at the location where it comes from is always very special.
Is it different? Do you think it's
It's
different
very,
when you, is it different?
I think
How
it's
so?
very different because you smell the soil, you talk to the winemakers, they explain to you why it has certain aromas, parfums, the tannins levels. So anyhow, drinking wine at a meal with a winemaker is the non plus ultra experience.
Is there a favorite wine that you have?
No, they're all favorites.
So if I came over to your house and I brought a bottle of wine, is there
I love to
something you would
explore it
prefer?
blind. I love to explore it blind as long as we have the proper glass and you let me taste and give you my point of view. Don't tell me who made it, where it's from, what price point, because it would influence me. And these are also fun games you can always play with friends. It's blind tastings. Fantastic.
I love that. Well, I want to encourage everybody, if you see on Maximilian's Instagram that he's coming to your city, this seminar, it it will change the way you drink wine, the way you view wine, the way you think about your glasses. You'll probably end up going out and buying all new glasses because it really influences the way you enjoy wine. And of course, those beautiful decanters, which aren't just a tool, they're actually really, really beautiful. Maximilian,
Absolutely. And we're not only talking about wine glasses, cocktail glasses from Riedel, spirits glasses, and you're the first one, Erica, to hear it. We're bringing up a new glass to be launching soon for bourbon, single
oh,
batch bourbon.
wow.
Super excited about it. Maybe you keep it to yourself because this is hot news from the press. We'll find out
I
more.
love it. Well, Maximilian, thank you so much for being here and for sharing not just the history, but just the joy that comes out of raising the right class.
Absolutely. Cheers to
And
all of you. And Erica, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I hope to see you again very soon.
and can you tell us again your Instagram so people can follow you?
It's Maxi Riedel, Riedel. And of course, there's also the company one, which is Riedel Official.
And it's really fun to follow Maximilian's Instagram to see all the incredible places he's going. Very inspirational. Thank you so much,
Appreciate it.
Maximilian.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.